So I guess the Sussexes are invited to the coronation, but only Harry's going. Well, this is what the video is going to be about. So I hope you like the video. If you like the video, please do like the video. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And thank you very much for watching. Hey, I'm Mark, and this is my journey through tarot. Come on. You're invited, but don't bring your wife. Was that the subtext? Or is it just Meghan not feeling safe in the United Kingdom, which is understandable? Or is there something else there? Is there a King Charles, Queen Camilla element that makes this a little more complicated? Well, whatever it is, that's what we're going to look at in the cards. So let's... So Harry, it looks like he's going, but is he really welcome? That's what we're going to find out. So this Wildwood Tarot, I like these cards. They have kind of a positive spin to them, so that's why I'm going to use them. I've got some strand. The only thing I don't like is you have to dump them out of the box. Listen, there's something going on with the video where my voice is like a half of a beat behind my motions. My hand movements or whatever. I don't know. I've tried to fix it. I can't seem to get a hold of it. So I hope you'll, live with it. But anyway, Harry. So is he invited but not really invited? Is just some subtext there that says, we want you to come, but we don't really want you to come. I don't know. I've got some theory about how Charles thinks about these kids actually, and we'll talk about them while I'm doing the cards. So I want to know, is he invited but not invited? I'll ask something like that. I want to know Harry's feeling towards his two kids, and I'll talk about that. I want to know if Meghan is not coming because she feels unsafe or because she doesn't feel she's really invited. And so we'll talk about that. So there'll be 2 or 3 questions with short draws, and then a 6-card draw, and maybe 4 more if it looks like we need more interpretation. But before we do anything, let's have just a moment of meditation. So yeah, it's odd. There's some intrigue here, but then there always seems to be some kind of intrigue with the royals, I guess. And I think it's unfortunate. I don't think that the old school royals, Charles, for instance, and the people, the courtiers around him, know how to be real. Unless what they're being is real to them, but it's not real to the rest of us. So let's do a 3-card draw to say, Harry, was he really invited wholeheartedly, or was it just because they felt like he had to be? 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. And then the next question will lend some credibility to that statement, because it's what I think Charles thinks about having those kids. The first card here is the Hooded Man. This is interesting. This card in other decks is like the fellow who's looking for a way through. He's looking for guidance. He's got a staff here that kind of gives him a plan. He's shining a light on the road ahead, and he's trying to find his way. The Hooded Man. And my question is, was Harry really invited full heartfelt? The Hooded Man is the first one. Let's see how that plays out. The second card is going to be the Knight of Arrows. So this is the Knight is the member of the royal family who's going to fight for his remit, and his remit are arrows, which in this case are going to be, if I'm not mistaken, arrows in this deck are swords, which is truth, justice, rules, and law. So this has to be Harry. And then the final card here is the stag. The stag is kind of like the one who is representing the truth of the forest, honestly. So let's see here. What does it say? Was Harry really invited? For me, this is Charles. This is him looking for a path through and kind of not seeing that the entrance is right there in front of him. He's looking this way. So this is Charles not really knowing how to navigate kind of the real world. And then this is Harry, who's fighting for his truth. And I think maybe he doesn't get that his dad isn't in the real world. Or maybe he does get that and he's trying to lead him along, and you can't. The man's 70-something years old. He's going to continue on the fantasy life that he lives. That is his actual real life, which to the rest of us is some kind of a fantasy. So this is Harry. And then the stag is kind of the real truth of the situation. I think what this is telling us is that he was invited really as heartfeltly as Charles could, but with Charles feeling like this has to be part of the presentation and not necessarily a heartfelt situation that's true to real life. If that makes any sense. It makes sense to me. I hope it makes some sense to you. Now, the way I feel about Charles and his kids, it seems to me like those kids, that marriage to Diana, all of it was just a construct of the monarchy. It was just, we have to have an heir and a spare. You have to accomplish that, Charles, regardless of where your heart is. And this is the perfect woman to do that. She has all the qualifications in every way that matters in a royal, monarchical way. And so he fulfilled that requirement, and then he was ready to get on with his life. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have love for those kids, but what I'm saying is that his love for those kids is second, I believe, to his love for the lost life that he feels that he lost. And he finally felt with Camilla, and this heir and spare were kind of part of that. So I'm just going to ask the cards if that analysis is valid, and we'll see how it comes out. So 3 cards about Charles. 1, 2, 3. I apologize for this video lagging behind. If I could figure out how to fix it, I would, and I'll work on it more before I do my next video, I promise. So okay, the blasted oak. So this is like the tower, and so this is the life of Charles. It's a tower moment. The next card up is the 9 of Arrows, which is dedication. Yeah, the 9 of Arrows is typically in a regular deck, it's kind of a nightmare, but Charles's nightmare in this case is his dedication to the monarchy, which was kind of forced. And then the final card here is the 8 of Arrows, which is a struggle. You know, the 8 of Swords is typically someone who's trapped and thinks they're trapped, but they're not really. And you know what? I think this validates what I said, what I felt. His life is just a huge tower moment. There's nothing that could ever be anything different from that. The 9 of Arrows is the strained, almost nightmarish dedication to the monarchy that he's learned to internalize and make it a normal kind of a life. And then the 8 of Arrows is feeling like you're trapped when you're not really, because you know you could just live a real life and you're not really trapped in that circle, but he doesn't know that. He will never recognize that. I do have a question about Meghan Markle that I'll take 3 cards on. And for me, it's this. I believe that she perhaps has recognized, just because she's an actress and because of the life that she's had to lead and is still having to lead regarding her family and her sister, is that there's a part of life that's real, there's a part of life that's fantasy, and I think she knows which the two are. And I think she recognized there are people who don't. And a lot of British citizens perhaps are not in that basket, believing that what they're seeing the monarchy present is honest and true, and it is for some extent for them, but they live in a pretend world, particularly Charles. So Meghan Markle, does she see the truth, and does she understand the difference between what the monarchy is and what real life is? 1, 2, 3. Meghan Markle, does she understand the difference between what the monarchy is and what real life is? This is the journey. Yeah, she's on the journey, and regardless of how she feels, she's in it. This is the 4 of arrows, which is rest. And this typically is telling us that we have to wait. We have to know when to lay down and rest and let something be reborn from that. And then the final card is the 6 of Stones, which is exploitation. Wow, that's the 6 of Pentacles, which typically in this card is, or in a normal deck, which this is not a normal deck, is being, the stones are pentacles, and the 6 of Pentacles would be distributing that wealth. And so in this situation, for that wealth to be distributed to her, it would be to exploit her. Oh yeah, I think she totally gets what this situation is. It's a journey that I don't think she was willing to follow exactly the way the monarchy would have her follow that journey. She's taken her own path, just like she did in her life before the monarchy. The 4 of Arrows, she understands the necessity to lay down and wait for something to be reborn, and she also understands the 6 of Stones, this exploitation that is the distribution of value within that royal system. I got to tell you, I'm watching myself filming this, and I can see the lag in the video, and it's making me crazy. But I have nothing else to work with, so I just have to continue. So now we're going to do 6 cards to see if that invitation was a real, heartfelt invitation from Charles. I want you to be here, or was it fulfilling another aspect of what the monarchy is supposed to be? He gets something real out of it, is that he gets to be crowned king, and I believe these other parts of it, William being there is the natural, makes sense part that has to follow, and Harry being there, he just doesn't fit in anymore. He just doesn't fit in anymore, and I think that's how Charles feels. So let's do 6 cards to see what they can tell us about that theory. 1, 2, and I think the fact that Harry doesn't fit in anymore is okay with Charles. It's just the way things go sometimes in his world. I think that's how he feels. Signifier card. The Page of Bows. The Page of Bows. Bows would be like wands. And so, no, I'm sorry, bows would be like cup emotion. Okay, so this whole thing has very little emotional value for Charles. That's the signifier. The challenge to that is the North Star. Knowing where to go, being guided in a true way, is the challenge to this very little offer of emotional stability. The basis of the whole thing is the Archer. So this is the number 7 of the what would be equivalent to a swords card, and so this is really fighting off those things that that kind of offend you. It's the basis of all of this. It's all a fight. This is in the mind of Charles. The 4 of Bows, which would be the 4 of Cups, is celebration, but that's in the past. Okay, Charles has had his celebration. He's had the moment. He's won the battle. He's gotten what he needed out of this situation. He's gotten his queen. And then the sky of this is the 3 of Vessels, which is joy. Okay, so that's what's in the sky here. And I tell you what, this is what everybody is looking for. Everybody is looking for that joy. The final outcome then is this 4 of Vessels is not really having what you really want. So it's going to end up like that. No one is going to get what they really want out of this. Charles isn't going to get the complete emotional satisfaction that he wants. The only one who might maybe is Camilla. Harry is not going to get the complete emotional satisfaction that he wants out of this. Meghan, I think, is just is probably the one who is the most tethered to reality in that trio. So that's what I think the cards say. And if you don't agree with me, that's perfectly fine. But let me know in the comments what you think. I love doing these readings. I hope you enjoyed what the cards said. And if you don't agree with what I came up with, well, then tell me in the comments below. Tell me what makes sense to you. And let me know what you'd like me to read about, because I'll read on that. Hey, I'm going to show you the cards now. The Wildwood Tarot by Mark Ryan and John Matthews, and the illustrations are by Will Worthington. Very nice box these come in. They're beautifully illustrated cards, as you can tell from the cover. The only one of the problems, I have a couple of problems with the packaging, is the box is a little difficult to open, so I've left it partially open so I can get in there more easily to do this review. But the box itself is really nice quality. If you got this as a gift, or if you gave this as a gift, you thought, well, that's a really nice gift. And so they're kind of Celtic influenced cards, and published by Sterling Ethos. I got them on Amazon. Now, once you get into the box, which is not that easy if it's fully closed, but once you get into the box, it's got an amazing illustrated book that tells you all about the cards. It's not in full color, but it's got a lot of divination meanings in here. But if you go right to the back, it tells you about the two authors and the artist. Mark Ryan was an actor, a singer, a writer, was in direction, and as it was even in the British TV film series Robin of Sherwood. Then John Matthews, a historian, a folklorist, and a children's book author, and also graphic novels having to do with King Arthur, Nazi Hunt for the Grail. Very amazing. And then the artist Will Worthington has been an illustrator for 30 years and involved in some very interesting projects too, and several other tarot related projects. Now inside here, if you get, and I don't often take a lot of time to go into the book, but on this one I will mention that if you do take the time to read through this book, it's really the best way to get to know these cards, so they don't divine in the way that typical tarot cards do, Rider-Waite system does. There's some similarities, but not perfect. And in this part one, Into the Green, the introduction by Mark Ryan, it really gives you some good ideas about why he decided to design the cards this way and what they mean. So, good book. I really recommend that you look at the book and study it a bit, really, before you do the cards. Now, the packaging. I don't like when you have to suffer to get the cards out. They have a little hole here that you can kind of dig the cards out with, which kind of works, but it's not my favorite way to get the cards. But if you get past that and you get into the box, and you get to see the cards, well, you're going to see they're amazing. Now, they're a nice card stock. They're kind of slicky. They're easy to use. They distribute really well. And there's nothing particularly special about the back of them. They're nice enough. But the card stock is quality. The cards shuffle really well, and they're easy to do this kind of shuffle like that. It's got a riffle shuffle, I think that's called. But when you look at the artwork on the cards, that's where everything really starts to shine. I mean, you really see how beautiful they are, all the intention that went into designing these cards, and you can really get some good divinations out of here. There's some interesting things here. They're not pentacles, cups, swords, and wands, but they're bows, arrows, stones, and I forget what, and vessels. So those are the different designations of the cards in there. And then for the major arcana, they're a little bit different, actually probably quite a lot different than the major arcana of other tarot cards that you may be used to seeing. But they're beautiful cards, and I really love, and very positive message with these cards. So there you go, the Wildwood Tarot. Hope you enjoy them. Well, coming back tomorrow, I'll be doing it all again, so ciao for now.